What's up everybody, welcome to the Sons of Sever YouTube channel where there's no such thing as bad weather, only bad gear. My name is Eric. Today my brother Chris and I are going to be reviewing for you the Feelgrounds Patrol Lite boot. Now last winter we reviewed the Patrol Winter and it was a boot that we really liked. We think it's probably the most equipped winter barefoot boot out there because of the waterproofing that it has, because of the insulation. It's a super warm boot almost to a fault. And so for this winter we wanted to try the Patrol Lite because it doesn't have the waterproofing, it doesn't have the insulation. We wanted to see if that suited our purposes any better. Chris and I are going to go back and forth talking about the things that we like and that we don't like about this boot. There's timestamps in the description if you want to jump around, but I'm going to send it over to him now so that he can start you off with his likes.
Getting into my likes of the Patrol Lite, the first thing that I want to mention is that the toe box, while looks the exact same as the Patrol Winter, it is a little bit wider feeling, and I think that's because of the lack of lining in this boot. I actually really liked the toe box of the Patrol Winter. It feels wider than most of Feelgrounds' other offerings. It seems like their boots do tend to run just a little bit wider, even though they seem to be more or less the same shape as everything else. But I really love the extra roominess that I get out of this specific Feelgrounds toe box. The next thing I want to mention is the versatility of this guy, and I would say it is a little bit more versatile than the Winter in some ways and a little less in some other ways. Example is it's not waterproof, so it's going to be less versatile in that arena, but it is unlined, which means you are going to get more use out of this in other parts of the year. The Patrol Winter really is just for winter. I think this boot could work well in spring and fall, so you do get a little bit more use out of this, but I thought that the Winter was also pretty versatile in general, where you could totally go on some hikes with this thing, but you could also wear it to church. You could also wear it on dates in those colder months. You could wear it for a photo shoot with the family or something like that. It does have some semi-formal appeal to it, but it also has some ruggedness built into it. The last like that I want to mention here is that I actually really like the new colorways that they've come out with. This is one of them, black and gum. It's something that I was missing when we initially reviewed the Patrol Winter. I would have liked to have a black and gum offering in the Patrol Winter, but I settled for going with it with the Lite with this new colorway. I think they do a really good job with their colorways in general at Feelgrounds. This one's definitely a winner, and they have some other good ones as well.
Okay, so when it comes to my likes of the Feelgrounds Patrol Lite, these first two are pretty much unanimous across the board with all of the shoes that we've tried from Feelgrounds, and I like the look of the shoe, and I also like the barefoot feel that it has. So when it comes to the look of Feelgrounds shoes, they're very timeless and classic in my opinion. They're pretty plain, and I think that that's a good thing. That's not supposed to be a negative comment at all. Just because of the low-key styling that they have, they are something that isn't going to go out of style. And the colorways are pretty muted as well, and that's one thing that I think contributes to that. Now those barefoot attributes are totally there. This one weighs 12.9 ounces, so it's super light, and it also has 10 millimeters of stack height, so pretty low, especially for a boot. You've got a 7mm base. You also have a 3mm cork insole, which I really like. It also has a fairly wide toe box. We find with Feelgrounds that they fit our feet just fine, but they're definitely not the widest toe boxes out there. They're trying to do everything they can to toe that line between looking good and giving you a barefoot feel. And I think because of that, their toe boxes do tend to be a little bit slimmer, but like I said, they're wide enough for my feet, and I think that I've got a pretty average foot, so they should suit most people. They're also zero drop and very flexible. So again, those looks, the barefoot qualities that they have, it's all there. Now a few things specific to this year's model as well. They updated the outsole of all of these boots. They changed the rubber compound somehow so that they're more durable. So that's always a welcome addition, something that I really like about it. And then they also included a pull tab on the back. That was one thing with the Patrol Winter that I kind of had a gripe with. It's a little bit hard to get on. There's no speed hooks on these things, so you really just have to loosen them up and get that tongue all the way out to slide your foot in. But now it's a little bit easier with that pull tab, so I like the updates and the thoughtfulness that was behind those. Now, depending on your use case for these boots, this next one could be a good thing or a bad thing. I think for me, it's mainly a good thing, and that is that this one is not insulated and it's not waterproof like the Patrol Winter is. And the reason that I like that is because with the Patrol Winter, I wasn't really able to wear that indoors. I wanted to wear it to church and places like that because it looks so cool. But I found that when I did that, my feet started to sweat. So this one doesn't have the insulation in, and for me, it proves to be just a little bit more versatile. I definitely have gotten my foot into it more than the Patrol Winter. Now, that versatility kind of stops when you're considering hiking, because this really isn't a hiking boot, if that's one thing that you were thinking. It's fully capable of going on little outings into the woods and on short and non-technical trails, but this thing really isn't built or advertised as a hard use hiker, so keep that in mind. It is a little bit less versatile than a lot of the boots that we review on this channel, but it definitely does serve its purpose. It's a casual, good looking boot that is fairly water resistant as well. I know it's not waterproof, so I didn't even take the time to try and dunk it all the way into the water, but I used it in some really wet conditions and my feet did end up staying dry. So this faux leather that they used is water resistant. I know that the laces are like a waxed cotton, so that kind of helps as well, keep things out of the eyelets as much as possible. And in all those wet conditions that I've used it in, my feet have stayed dry. Keep in mind, it is not waterproof though.
With our likes of the Patrol Lite out of the way, it's time to get into our dislikes, but first we want to mention some affiliates. We do have a link down in the description for Feelgrounds. We like their offerings in general. We think they do a really good job of balancing how good their shoes look with the barefoot features that they still manage to maintain. We are actually a big fan of the Patrol line in general, and they have kid sizes, which is awesome. So these are the ones for my 2.5-year-old that I have. He calls them his hiking boots, but they are waterproof. They are lined just like the big boy Patrol Winter. They are basically the exact same boot, just shrunk down, and then they also have these bungee laces so that they're relatively easy to slip on and off. And I wanted to give a little mini review here of these things and how I think they perform for my son. I really like them. They are zero drop. I believe they're 7 millimeters of total stack height. Their kids options are usually, I think, 4 or 5 millimeters. So a little bit beefier in this guy, which I think is appropriate. The outsole has been fantastically grippy for him. He uses this thing a lot right now in the winter months. We got it back in the fall, and it has just been a rock star boot for us. We actually haven't experienced any snow yet here in Utah as of the filming of this review, but I'm excited for when it falls because I think this is going to be a great little option for him. Not only will it keep his feet dry because of the bomb-proof waterproofing that we know that the big boy Patrol Winter has, but it's also going to keep his feet warm because of that lining. I'm a huge fan of the toe boxes that they put on the kids' shoes. They seem to be even wider than the adult versions, which is exactly how it should be. The flexibility is decent for something that is a boot that's meant to be pretty rugged for the most part. We're big fans of Feelgrounds, and I especially love Feelgrounds for my kiddos. The Patrol Winter Kids definitely gets a green light from me. If you're looking for a solid winter boot for your kiddos that's going to maintain all of those solid barefoot features, then the Patrol Winter Kids version is going to be a very, very good option for you. Getting into my dislikes of the Patrol Lite, I really only have one, and it's the lack of waterproofing, and I don't like that because I think it brings down the versatility of this boot overall. Honestly, I'd probably prefer this boot over the Patrol Winter if it was waterproof, but because it's not, I do definitely defer to the Patrol Winter when it's wet and slushy and snowy outside, but I find that it's too hot to wear in a lot of other situations. So Eric and I share the same sentiment. We'd love to see a middle ground boot that's somewhere between the Winter and the Lite. You could definitely put in a waterproof membrane and the boot not be overly hot. We've got plenty of other examples in the industry that are great boots that are fantastic for hiking in summer, but are completely waterproof. Feelgrounds could totally bridge that gap easily just by taking a waterproofing membrane and putting it inside this. You'd lose a little bit as far as lightness goes, and this is the Patrol Lite. You'd also lose a little bit of that extra space that I talked about in my likes when it comes to the toe box, but in my opinion, it's a worthy sacrifice in order to get the extra versatility out of a waterproof Patrol Lite.
All right, talking about my dislikes with the Patrol Lite, the biggest gripe that I have with this boot is just the material that it's made out of, and there's a few different things that come along with that. The first one is that it's really squeaky. this faux leather that they've used. I think without all the insulation and stuff around on the inside, it leaves the fake leather to kind of just rub on itself, and it's a really squeaky boot, which to me then just makes it feel more fake. And again, when it comes to the faux leather, I think that real leather is just more durable. It's a material that I like to wear way more. This is pretty much all just plastic. And whether that's better for the environment or not, I think is down to the individual. You can argue it one way or another, but for me, I definitely would prefer a leather shoe. But Feelgrounds seems to be sticking to their guns, and they keep things vegan. So if that's something that you're into, then these guys have you covered. But I do think that if you were to use a real leather, that you'd have a product that would last even longer. So that's gonna bring me to my final opinion of the Feelgrounds Patrol Lite. Would I recommend this to other people? Definitely, if you are looking for a very barefoot feeling shoe, if having a vegan product is important to you. But if you just want the protection of a boot to get you through the colder months, but you still want those barefoot qualities, then I think that this is a pretty good contender for you. Like I said in my likes, those barefoot qualities are definitely there with this one. It is fairly water resistant, at least it's held up for me and all the wet conditions that I've put it through. And I think that it looks really good. I think that this can be worn casually, and I think that it can be dressed up just a little bit too. So there's definitely a lot that I like about the Patrol Winter. I do wish, and this is going to echo something that Chris has said, that they would find some sort of middle ground, that they would make a uninsulated yet waterproof Patrol boot and maybe beef up that lug pattern just a little bit for us, just because we want to be able to take them on longer and harder hikes, and they would definitely have something there. Maybe some sort of like nylon air mesh waterproof hiking boot that just has this DNA would be a really cool thing. Let us know down in the comment section if that's something that you would be interested in, because it's those opinions that make stuff happen.
Getting into my final opinion of the Patrol Lite, would I recommend this to somebody? I think so. I like it as much as I liked the Patrol Winter. It's obviously just a little bit different, not being insulated and not being waterproof. I think it's a good boot overall. But here is my real opinion, and it almost has nothing to do with this boot in a way. You have people who are Vivobarefoot diehards, Lems diehards, Xero diehards. There are Feelgrounds diehards out there, but they're having to go to these other companies to get their barefoot hiking boot needs met, because the Patrol series just really doesn't meet that need. It's too minimal, in my opinion, to be a dedicated hiker. I know some people with hardcore feet out there will disagree with this, but that is okay. And then this one not being waterproof and the other one being a little too hot for all of the seasons. I think what we need is a Patrol hike. Real simple, take this exact boot, put a waterproof membrane in it, ruggedize the sole just a little bit more, a more aggressive traction pattern on the bottom, and boom, you have the Patrol hike. I like this boot, I think it's a good boot, but let me know down in the comment section if you want to see the Patrol hike come to life. Folks, if you like this video, make sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. All those things really help the channel out. If you're interested in any of the products that we talked about in this video, there will be links to them down in the description. If we have discount codes for any of those companies, they will be featured with the links. If you want to get more content from us, there are 3 different places you can get it. The first one is Patreon, where for $1 a month, you can get exclusive behind-the-scenes content we don't post anywhere else. If you want to be most up to date with what we are working on, make sure to follow us on Instagram, where we are constantly posting unboxing videos. Go follow us on Strava if you're interested in seeing mini reviews in real time of the products we're using and what we're using them for. Strava allows you to track and post about your different activities. We track and post about our runs, trail runs, hikes, paddleboarding, and weightlifting, and we do little mini reviews on the products we're using during those activities. Go follow us there, and we will follow you back. We appreciate your view, and as always, we will catch you in the mountains.